and just give a little quick update to you on what the bill is about, number one, how it's going to impact Kentuckians, and why these people are opposing this bill. So let's get started with you, DeeDee, of 502 Hemp.
So you definitely need a little bit of backstory.
Please.
Back in April of 2021, a guidance letter was sent by Joseph Bilby from the Kentucky Department of Agriculture stating
And just give a little quick.
Illegal. So he pretty much said, no licensee holders can make these products. No, you'll lose your license. This stuff it's a Schedule I drug, Schedule I, and that, you could face prosecution, face criminal charges. So there was a few of us that got together to discuss this. We decided, hey, it's just an opinion letter. It's not law. There's nothing in KRS that says any of this stuff. We're going to kind of let it sit and see what happens. Fast forward to June 15th, 2 stores out in Rowan County were raided by the Kentucky State Police. So myself, along with a lot of other store owners and the Kentucky Hemp Association, all came together, and they filed a lawsuit against the Kentucky Department of Agriculture and against the Kentucky State Police to stop this, and because of their overreach. So we were supposed to have our hearing October 16th, and the judge had to reschedule because of a COVID exposure. So literally on my way home from Boone Circuit Court, where the lawsuit was filed, I was being bombarded by messages that Bullitt County got raided completely. The drug task force went in and took, I think it was 14 stores that were raided, took all their Delta 8, said it was illegal. They used that letter as well as to get their bench warrants. So then that brings us to the hearing in December that we had, which means we had a big, long hearing that day. That was a lot of fun, by the way, getting to sit there and listen to all that testimony. But we waiting to hear what the judge was going to say regarding to that, because we asked for a temporary injunction as well to stop the raids. On 2/14, Senate Bill 170 was filed by Senator Paul Hornback as an emergency bill, completely outlawing Delta 8, Delta 10, THCP, THCO, and HHC, literally making them synthetic cannabinoids, putting them in the same classification as Schedule I drugs here in the state of Kentucky. But it also says that even for extracted products in this state, that the Delta 8 has to be at 0.001%. And as most people don't know, Delta 8 is a naturally occurring cannabinoid in hemp extract. So that means anyone that's extracting CBD products, it's going to have a much higher amount of Delta 8 in there. I have CBD products that are full spectrum that are already at 0.03. So technically it would be illegal. So what this means for the state, and why all of us are trying to scramble to get this stopped, is it could seriously hurt the entire industry, not just Delta 8, but the entire hemp industry here in the state of Kentucky. It hurts the farmers, it hurts the processors, and it sure as heck hurts us retailers. So it's kind of an update.
That's an awesome update. Virginia, do you have anything that you would like to add to that?
So we saw in Kentucky that we are continuing to lose growers licenses, and also processing licenses every year. And I know that Brian Quarles of the Kentucky Department of Agriculture has stated that this is in a testing phase, that we're still rolling out, although we would like to push it to more across the board, like comprehensive support. But from 2020, we had 960 requests for permits to grow in Kentucky. 157 of them actually were not did not list sites. They just wanted to store what they had from the previous harvest in 2019. In 2021, we saw that 445, which is, obviously half of the permits that were asked for the year before were asked for again, and 130 of them were for storage use only. And overall, we saw 30 out of 40 states had a significant reduced applications for 2021. And with the revenue, the hemp acreage and protection survey done by the USDA for 2021 showed that our largest category for investment, that there in the open field market was a gain of 623 million in floral sales. Also, we the highest after that would be in the seed category, and that was 41.5 million. So if the country as a whole is going towards floral and towards like CBD and hemp for smokable purposes and for processing, what are we as Kentuckians gaining from that if we are seeing a significant loss in permitting over time? And so how would this SB170 affect us as a market on the grand scheme if we criminalize the even so much as to research into Delta 8? What is that going to do for the CBD market, and what is that, or for the hemp market, and what is that going to do for us specifically?
Right. And in KRS, it already had listed in there about hemp flower not being able to sell it to the public. Now I know there are stores all over Kentucky that do it. I can't say I blame them. However, when they came out with the Delta 8 saying that, I was like, ooh, there's no way I'm selling floral, because that's what they'll get me on. They'll get me on selling freaking hemp flower, even though I knew I was right about the Delta 8. So there has been so many issues that have hurt Kentucky farmers and processors and retailers here in Kentucky, but this one just really takes the cake.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question that just I think people really need to understand and can't quite figure out. How is it that all of these products have been legal and people have been selling them, growing them, manufacturing them, using them since they were passed into law as legal? How can this bill just unilaterally turn that around, and for no apparent reason? Or is there a reason that we don't really understand?
Well, I definitely think there's a reason that we don't understand. But, the 2018 Farm Bill said all derivatives, all isomers. The word all is so important. It doesn't say anything about naturally occurring cannabinoids. It doesn't say anything about synthetic cannabinoids. It doesn't say anything other than all isomers, derivatives, salts. They're legal as long as it is below 0.3% Delta 9 THC. And some people are saying that Delta 8 is new to the market, but it's not. It has actually been around since the 70s. They have used Delta 8 in some of the cancer research projects and research to actually help and study if Delta 8 can help people with cancer. So when they talk about this as a new product, okay, it may be to the market, but they've known about this THC product for a really long time.
Does the Kentucky legislature not know that states all around us and everywhere in the nation are growing marijuana and profiting from it? And and I'm not a pot smoker. I've never smoked pot. I use your 502 hemp non-THC CBD oil as a treatment for not only my dog's arthritis, but for my own depression and anxiety. I'm a huge proponent of that. But do they not understand that this is nothing new and that, across the world, people grow pot and make a lot of money off of it for their state? And it does have a lot of very important applications other than just people smoking it for their own enjoyment?
I don't think they do know that.
I think it's important that we disassociate,
for sure,
cannabis from CBD. Although they're both very helpful and both have a lot of medicinal effects, we are actually talking about two separate things.
And why are we talking about two separate things? Because technically it is the same plant. The government split the plant, made it hemp, even though it's the same damn plant. They all have the same cannabinoids in each plant. So we're going by the rules. We're playing by the law. When these products came to market, and it literally saved a lot of retail stores to be able to offer these, because I'm sorry, but people want them. And if they're not going to give us the medical marijuana and they're not going to give us recreational, Delta 8 was that bridge that some people needed. Plus, there are medical and medicinal properties to Delta 8. I have people with cancer that take it instead of taking opiates. I have veterans that have horrible PTSD that manage to get off tons of drugs that use these products. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It helps with anxiety. It helps with seizures. And I think maybe that's the scare to it as well, because, oh my gosh, will people use these instead of using opiates? Oh.
Well, DeeDee, nobody knows better than you that I reduced my psychiatric meds that I took after my depression and anxiety to one medication, off of benzos, off of everything, because of that 502 hemp, non-THC CBD oil. So, and my dog lived 3 years longer than he should have because of that stuff for his hips and arthritis. So, the medicinal properties are unquestioned. I guess I don't understand what our legislature is doing. Basically recriminalizing something that they decriminalized in such a short period of time, and under the cover of darkness. Nobody wants to talk about it, and it popped up. It's got one sponsor. Why, I wonder, does it not have more co-sponsors? I'm trying to figure that out. Senator Hornback is the one who introduced it.
Because he's not up for re-election. This is his last year. That's why he managed to do that. Are you kidding? Everybody else is up for election this year. They ain't going to do this and decimate the hemp industry. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But why else, Betty?
I absolutely agree.
Sorry. Thank you. I mean, you don't see any other sponsors on it, but they're pushing it. I don't know if you guys saw the last Senate bill, or the very first one where they read it, but Quarles was there. He said that it is a Schedule 1. Katie Moyer with the Kentucky Hemp Association, she said, no, it's not. And here's a letter from the DEA, which is correct. The DEA removed all hemp derivatives off of the Schedule 1. Now, if you're getting Delta 8 from marijuana, of course it's still Schedule 1. There's no argument about that. But the products that are being sold in Kentucky are from hemp, because there is an oversurplus of hemp, and that they had to make something with it. And why not make it from that? Makes sense to me. At least it gives farmers an outlet to sell their products, and then new products on the market that are going to help people. They also talked about how kids are getting these products, and we are strictly 21 and up. We don't sell to kids. There's none of these products sitting out from behind the counter. That was another thing Senator Hornback said, that people are, and maybe there are people out there doing that. But I know in my store and most of the retailers around Louisville, you got to be 21 and up. We all know these are for adult products. I'm perfectly fine with them issuing that kind of rule, 21 and up, have a certificate of analysis or Q&R code so people can check the status of things. Perfectly fine with that. We already do it. There's already Q&R codes on those products. We vet the products that we sell here, and I'm sure you at Steel and Leaf do that as well. We don't sell crap, and if they ban it, it's just going to go to a black market, and then people aren't going to know what they're going to get, or they're going to order it from a website and it's going to be sent to here anyway. They're not going to be able to keep it completely out of the state. And for them to think that, it's insane.
It kind of reminds me a little bit, of, not nearly to the detrimental extent, but, it reminds me of like opioid pandemic, right? Doctors writing these scripts for opioids and people getting hooked and can't get it anymore. And then what do? They go and they find H in the streets and, they end up dead several years later, right?
Exactly.
And it's all because there's not any safe alternatives, right?
Exactly.
Well, I can guarantee
I'm all down
that
for regulation. I think that it's essential.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as criminalization, I think that's taking it too far, and it will
Agreed.
become like the equivalent of like a backdoor deal.
I can guarantee you that I would never have
things.
purchased any of these types of alternative medications nor known about them were it not for you.
Well, and I guarantee you I wouldn't be selling any of this stuff if I thought I was going to be a criminal. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the only one in my family that's not. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I love you, family, if you're listening. I'm teasing. But I mean, I have a paralegal degree. So I've been in the legal field for 20 years. And no, I wouldn't be even in this field if and I wouldn't have sold these products had I not done my homework. But I can read law and I can read the Farm Bill, and all you got to do is put two and two together. And I personally think that they're really, really, really mad that we won our temporary injunction. So this is their way of getting back at us. So that's why they're trying to change the law and make it illegal. If this passes, it will result in more lawsuits. I can almost guarantee that.
DeeDee, I just put the legislative hotline up on my crawl to oppose Senate Bill 170. So that number is 1-800-372-7181. You can call and tell your legislator you want them to vote whatever way you want them to vote. And this is in particular, they're asking you to vote no. So keep that number handy, because there are lots of bills that are going on right now that are going through the legislature that need to have calls from constituents for, either support or opposition, and it's important to participate. So that's the number of the legislative hotline, 1-800-372-7181, and you can just call and say, I want to ask my legislator, and you name your legislator. And if you don't know it, you say, they say, who's your legislator? They'll tell you by your address who your legislator is. Or you can say, I want to tell a committee, and you name the committee, or you say, I want it sent to the entire House of Representatives or the entire Senate, whichever one works for you. So
typically, I think it works best when you send it to the committee, and we will probably know tomorrow. They have not yet voted today on this bill. It is up for the orders. I think they broke back and went to caucus for something or other, but they may still vote today on that, and then we will probably know tomorrow what committee it's going to in the House, and then we will start getting the word out about calling that committee, that House committee, leaving them the messages. They either vote no or they've got to change it, because as that bill is written, it will truly, truly hurt this entire hemp community in the state of Kentucky. And
how many jobs?
I cannot stress that enough. Jobs, oh my gosh, thousands upon thousands upon thousands. And how many businesses? And I mean, they're all going to leave. They're all going to leave. Processors are going to leave the state. The farmers are not going to bother to grow it. It is going to truly hurt the hemp industry here.
I believe that number would be roughly about 5,000 from the research that we did, I think. About 5,000 people in Kentucky, could lose their jobs just immediately. That's not even talking about just shrinkage and everything of other businesses, once everything passes.
Like anyone in Kentucky needs to lose their job right now.
Right.
My God, we're coming back from the worst unemployment that we've ever had. Now we've got this massive swing in the right direction. We don't want to take a step backwards. And again, forbidding people to use these extraordinary products because of a sense of paranoia on the part of a couple of people who aren't going to run for office again kind of makes me freaked out a little bit.
And you seem to don't know much about cannabis from what I've read. You know, a lot of the verbiage, a lot of the lingo in the legislation just kind of leans towards they don't really even understand. You know, I can't wait to have some hemp tea. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, intoxicating, they use the word intoxicating and non-intoxicating. Well, I'm sorry, but if you drank a whole bottle of CBD oil, you're going to be intoxicated.
Well,
You're going to sleep really well, and you're going to have the poops for a few days. But
Are they going to outlaw bourbon?
Right?
Right.
What about coffee? What about
pretty damn intoxicating.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a personal trainer recently that overdosed on caffeine and had a heart attack because he was trying to make some super shot for, you know, people trying to lose weight.
Yep.
You know, so they should outlaw caffeine, right?
And energy drinks too. Those things are awful. Energy drinks are the worst ones for you. So,
yeah, those are absolutely horrible. You know what kills me is doing what I do, when working with a lot of people in addiction and trauma and things like that. See, it seems, and I'm talking about even the non-THC stuff. You know, the CBD oil stuff has been like a heaven-sent to people with trauma, people with lots of pain that don't want to take pain pills and things like that, so you don't get stuck into your, they want to support their own recovery, and they're like, I can't take a bunch of opioids. And that even with me, I was a little hesitant because I was like, well, let's see what this is all about. But the more I learned about it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's all natural. It has so many different benefits. And it really got you to question, like, if they're so gun-ho against something all natural, but will be quick to throw big pharma down your throat, man, we're in a rough spot.
Yeah.
And that might be one of the big miscommunications is, they're trying to push it like it's synthetic, but it's not actually. I can't pronounce the full name of the ISO something of the actual breakdown, the process that happens to make a lot of these derivatives. It's a natural process actually. Just because it's done in a lab doesn't mean that it's not a natural process.
Well, if you think about it this way, they use some of the same products to make these cannabinoids as they do our food. So you will find the exact same Lewis acids or citric acid that they use to these products to make our food with. So when they talk about that and they talk about the fears of that, how about you get rid of Roundup that does cause cancer?
Right.
No
pesticides
kidding.
like that, right?
No kidding.
So
the way you just framed that, it reminded me someone real smart. The way they broke it down to me was like, you got a cheeseburger, right? You got all the elements of your cheeseburger, right? It doesn't matter if the pickles are on the top or on the bottom or wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still a cheeseburger. It's not like you're taking the slab of meat out and replacing it with, vegetable or something. It's all a cheeseburger. It doesn't matter what layer it's in,
Mm-hmm.
And that's very similar. That's like a layman way of explaining the process that a lot of this is done.
And you can literally take any cannabinoid and make it into another cannabinoid. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
These cannabinoids aren't coming out of thin air. You're taking an initial cannabinoid like CBD isolate and it's becoming another cannabinoid. Now, are there synthetic cannabinoids? Absolutely. Spice was the big synthetic cannabinoid, right? That was doing all kinds of horrible stuff to people.
That should be outlawed. I've seen too many people die from that.
And it is.
And that's the problem is, the government is trying to frame it like it is this,
and
it kind of puts it in that category of spice, and it's nothing like that.
Absolutely.
Nothing like it. I mean, I've used it. I've used it to help myself, to help me sleep. I use my CBD products daily, so my anxiety is, chilled on that. But
I've heard lots of stories of people with ADD. Using Delta 8.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of using, Ritalin, which is essentially legal amphetamines. It is legal amphetamines.
It definitely helps with my night terrors. It definitely helps with my PTSD. I have complex PTSD. I have PTSD, and I can be not such a fun person sometimes, but I don't want to take a bunch of pills. Like, they want everything down my throat. I don't want to do that. I have body aches from when I was trafficked and all this different stuff and all this. And it's like, that's something's natural. That's something that I can take it and I can give it to my dog. Like, You know, that's a beautiful thing. And so I really hope that our leaders will actually really take this into consideration and understand that, you know, on so many different levels, that this can help the people of our state and so many states. And again, we're just talking about CBD oil right now. You know, so many places around us are listening to their citizens and saying, you know, they're like, hey, I just want to try something natural. And that should be okay. You know, that should be applauded, you know, and it's just sad that once again, that we're in this fight. But I really, you know, what is something, so calling the legislators and things like that, like what can we get people fired up to be like that's what I'm all about, right? I like to bring the noise. What can we get the community to do to bring some noise?
Once we know what committee it goes to, we can start sending emails as well.
Awesome.
And so you can join, if you sign up for my newsletter on my website, we literally formulate. All you got to do is click one button, the emails pop up, and it says exactly what it should say and goes right to the legislators. So we're really trying to push all that. I mean, I've even got people in Ohio calling and sending emails like, what are you all trying to do? Right. I mean, literally every state that surrounds us allows Delta-8. The couple of states that are trying to completely outlaw Delta-8, they have recreational marijuana. They have lobbyists. The medical marijuana group have lobbyists that are pushing to outlaw that Delta-8 because it takes away from their sales. Because not everybody wants the full Delta-9 marijuana in general. So it hurts their sales. And that is, you know, people think, well, they're banning it in other states, so it can't be good. And that's not true. It's usually political, and it's usually about money. It's not because the product is bad.
In the research that I've done, I had noticed that there was, you know, a number of areas that would make it illegal when cannabis became legal. And I always was curious. You know, that was always my assumption, was that it was probably lobbyists pushing for that. So, like, it's good to hear, you know, a little bit of confirmation from someone in the industry that probably has a little more knowledge than I do.
Yeah, and it's a shame, too. I mean, there's even some people in the hemp industry that are lobbying to have it made illegal as well. And not necessarily in Kentucky, but throughout the United States. And that is very frustrating. And it's all about lobbyists and money.
Well, this came out of the Ag Committee in the Senate. My friend Michelle Lawson was testifying about the cost of care bill for animals the day that this was read in the Agriculture Committee, and she said she had never even heard of it. Well, it's because it was just literally brought up, you know, just brought into the first reading a few weeks ago. So as soon as the floor vote is taken on the Senate side and they assign it to committee, on the House side, we'll let everybody know what they want you to write to. And after that, it will either go to conference committee or it will be passed out of both chambers and have to go to the governor. And that will be the point at which you use the hotline to call the governor and say, if it makes it through both houses of, you know, both chambers of the legislature, then you call the governor and you tell him what you want him to do or not do. So there's a process here for everybody to participate, and we hope that you will. And I have tagged somebody that I know who's on the Senate Agriculture Committee, Senator Robin Webb, who is somebody who should be aware of this. I'm sure she already is, but I'll go ahead and make her aware of it. Go ahead and make her aware of it anyway. I'll hit a couple of other people up.
And definitely tag Jason Nemes. I know he loves that.
I will do that. I will tag Senator Jason Nemes, and I will also tag Senator Julie Rocky Adams, because she is
I like Julie.
She is a pretty amazing gal, and she does a lot of things for animals. So I work with her on a lot of things like that. So I'll go ahead and tag a lot of these folks and encourage everybody else to do that too. And are there any final thoughts that you want to share with us before we hop off? Please take advantage of this time.
Just real quick, they've passed it over. They did not vote today. So it's been passed over for a vote either tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever they're going to do it. But they did not vote today in the Senate. I just got notice of that. Good. So that's good. That means we got another day of it being stalled and not going to the House.
Yep.
Good.
So
Good.
the longer we can
to
get
the
this.
best of my ability, I'm going to try to, be in Frankfurt as much as I can this week.
Good. I plan on being there on.
Sure.
I plan on being there on Wednesday. I could not be there tomorrow, and now it sounds like it's not critical to be there tomorrow. But I think the more we educate the House representatives, the better off that we will be, because I think most of them just don't know, and they're scared that we're going to harm children. And that's the big thing. 21 and up, it's an adult product. I mean, adults should be responsible. Lock it up so your kids can't get it. You can't blame that on the retailers or the makers of these products, just like we don't do that with alcohol. And we all know
Or
kids get
prescription
alcohol
medication.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah, or
I was going to say the same thing.
Very good.
And if
Virginia,
we're
any
seeing-
final thoughts from you?
Yes, if we're seeing as a whole that the hemp industry is moving towards processing for these distillates, why are we cutting off our noses to spite our face? What are we going to do in turn to add or boost revenue if the industry is moving towards these products? How are we going to survive as hemp processors and hemp farmers? And how are, us retailers and those of us who have firsthand seen how beneficial this can be for people, what can we do for them?
Right.
I think that's a huge thing to think about.
Good thought. Good thought.
It pains me that processors in this state are not allowed to make these products, because I personally, y'all might not know this, but my husband is a processor and has been since 2014. He makes my CBD products. And the fact that he can't make the Delta 8 and I can't have my own brand with my husband making it sucks. I have to support an out-of-state company. Not that I mind, but I do. Do you know what I mean? I would rather we keep it in Kentucky. We keep the money here in Kentucky. All the time I get people from out of state wanting me to sell their CBD products. And I'm like, no, I choose to support Kentucky farmers. I choose to support Kentucky processors. It's important to keep the money here, right? That's the whole point, is to make revenue for this state. So to me, it makes no sense. We can do the testing to make sure these products are safe here in Kentucky, and they should be able to make them. Now, am I also okay if they don't? I am, as long as we can keep offering these products too. So it's like, so I'm a retailer first and my husband second. Sorry, love you, honey.
We know, is it still 18 states that legally cannabis is legalized in? The recreational use of cannabis, just out of curiosity.
I think it's 19.
19? Okay.
I think, wasn't Mississippi the latest one to pass?
I'm just curious because as of February the 23rd, it said 18 states and Washington, D.C., which would make 19 entities have legalized recreational marijuana. So, that's just one question. But just think about that. If it's legal to smoke pot in 18 and the Washington, D.C. 19th, then why is this particular product, hemp, which, is something that many, many people benefit from, being criminalized? And it doesn't read well to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It certainly is not profit oriented, and on our state is all about economics. I mean, we go to the governors and the mayor's press conferences on a daily and weekly basis where they're talking about economics and how we're coming back and what we're going to move forward to do, and how we've got to keep moving back and regaining all of the ground that we lost during the pandemic. And this is like the best possible opportunity to do that, and it just seems like it's a loss.
It is.
A quick search, if my research real quick is correct, it shows 18 legal states and 2 legal territories, DC and Guam.
Oh, Guam too. Good. Perfect. All right. Good. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, DeeDee. And go ahead. You want to say one more thing?
One more thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So they're planning tomorrow, 7:45, head to the Capitol Annex. They're going to meet in the morning. They have a scheduled meeting at 11 with the Chief of Staff or the Speaker of the House. And then what day would be best to come would be Wednesday. Wednesday, go to Frankfurt. Definitely, if you want to be there and help educate these the House representatives, I think that would be extremely helpful. So we're all stronger in numbers, and we have to save this industry. I mean, we just have to. I have been all over this since day one, and I will continue to be, because I know that customers in Kentuckiana, they need these products, period.
So are you making a call to action right now to come to Frankfurt on Wednesday?
I would say yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
I mean, that's what Summer was asking for.
What time Wednesday?
Yeah,
Plan on being there at 11:45.
Got it.
because 502 live streamers love a good protest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We're not going to protest. We're going to
awareness.
We're going to educate. We're going to educate.
That's
We're not gonna
exactly right.
We're not protesting.
We love a
we're
good
gonna
presence.
educate. Yes.
We love everything. We love
Support.
just doing the job. We like to amplify messages that are important to be heard. So let's go down to Frankfurt and we'll amplify you, and you can talk all you want, Virginia and DeeDee, and we will broadcast you. So we'll plan on being down there in maybe 11 o'clock, 11:30 range. Get yourself
I
there
think
early to
that'll be
park.
perfect.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you guys so much for your great information, for the knowledge that you have that you've shared, and for folks who are interested in any more details. Steel and Leaf, give us a website for that, Virginia.
steelandleaf.com.
Perfect. And DeeDee, give us 502 Hemps.
502hemp.com.
Easy to find. Good job. Thank you both.
Yep. Thank
Summer,
you.
Riot,
marketing
thank you so
scheme.
much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Bye.